true, and I've been told this by a fairly reliable U.S. senator, if that is true and comes out, I think it raises enormous questions about the president's role and Tom Donilon, the National Security Advisor's role, the Secretary of Defense, Leon the Panetta, who has taken it on his own shoulders that he said don't go. And that is, I think, very dubious, given that the president said he had instructions. They're supposed to do everything they could to secure American personnel. After noting, and that was what Newt Gingrich said, after noting that the rumor, if true, would have a substantial impact on the presidential election, Gingrich pointed to another, quote, possible October surprise in the coming days. This is Gingrich, the other big story I think that is going to break is on corruption and extraordinary waste in the solar power grants and direct involvement by the Obama White House, including the president, and the solar panel grants involving billions of dollars, and I suspect that that's going to break Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Well, he was wrong on that one. I haven't heard anything about it. I have not seen anything come across the wire yet. Now, here is the story on before it's news. It was like a prophecy thing. Rogue U.S. general arrested for activating special forces teams, ignoring Libya's stand-down order. The official story surrounding the events of September 11, 2012 in Benghazi, which left 4 Americans dead, has now officially fallen apart. After numerous flips and flops by the Mohammed Banama Obama administration, which originally attempted to paint the incident as a Muslim outcry over an anti-Islamic video, whistleblowers throughout the U.S. government, including within the White House, the State Department, national intelligence agencies, and the U.S. military, have made available stunning details that suggest not only did operational commanders have live visual and audio communications from drones overhead and intelligence assets on the ground, but that some commanders within the military were prepared to go it alone after being told to stand down. In other words, after hearing a command from the commander-in-chief to stand down and not go in, some of these guys were saying, you know what, forget it. These are our guys and we're going to go get them. So how does the president deal with that? AFRICOM Commanding Officer U.S. General Carter Ham, after being ordered to essentially surrender control of the situation to alleged al-Qaeda terrorists, or as George Bush would say, terrorists, and let Americans on the ground die, made the unilateral decision to ignore orders from the Secretary of Defense and activated special operations teams at his disposal for immediate deployment to the area. According to reports, once the general went rogue, he was arrested within minutes by his second in command and relieved of duty. This is a quote. The basic principle is that you don't deploy forces into harm's way without knowing what's going on, without having some real-time information of what's taking place, Panetta told Pentagon reporters. And as a result of not having that kind of information, the commander who was on the ground in that area, General Ham, General Dempsey, and I felt very strongly that we cannot put forces at risk in that situation. In other words, now I want you to follow me. The guy that we sent to be the ambassador in Libya, we sent without a weapon. We sent without a gun. He's not a Navy SEAL. He's not a special teams. He's not PSYOPs. He's not anything like that. According to news reports, he's just a homosexual ambassador to the United States. We send him into harm's way in a country that is unstable after Muammar Gaddafi, and we expect him to defend himself. The guys that want to go in and rescue him, that are well-armed, well-trained, work specifically dealing with issues of an enemy territory, getting in, getting out safely, knowing how to fire a weapon. The guys who signed a document saying, we put our lives on the line for the people of the United States of America, we don't want to send them in because we're afraid they might get cut. And I'll tell you, listen, there's more to this. There's more to this. It is my opinion. It is only my opinion. I don't have insider information. It is my opinion that the guys who serve in our armed forces, most of them despise the commander-in-chief of the United States of America. And if this guy, Barack Hussein, is allowed to be president another 4 years, I think, and I'm still not endorsing Mitt Romney. But if he is allowed to remain as president another 4 years, you might actually have an unheard of situation in the United States of America. I mean, in Panama and Libya and Egypt and all these third world countries, yeah, military coup, that happened. There's another one going on right now. It doesn't happen in America yet. But I am of the opinion that most of the armed forces people in this country despise the president. They will not take his orders if they don't believe they're right. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, Mr. President? Why would you not send trained men who volunteer to put their life on the line to go rescue what essentially is the man who represents you? When you attack the ambassador, it's like killing the king. It's like going after the president. Why would you do that? Why would you go and apologize? Why would you bow before a Saudi prince? Why would you send a message to Libya, to our enemies, saying you can do whatever you want to? We're sorry for being America. I'm just upset. I'm a little emotional over it. Somebody sent me this, and I'm just going to run through this stuff real quickly, and I'm going to get to the gist of Shofar is still online. Bless his heart. Somebody sent me this. You remember this guy, Pazuzu? The guy with the man face and the wings and the scorpion tail and the locust and all that stuff. You remember that guy? They're actually erecting a statue of him. This is not some rogue idol dug up at a hole somewhere. This is... You folks in London in England are going to like this. A sculpture of the demon god Pazuzu is installed in 2 parts at the Institute of Contemporary Art on October 9, 2008 in London. Anybody in the London area, if you go there, take a picture and send it to me. The sculpture forms part of the something exhibition featuring the work of Italian artist Roberto Cowie. Anyway, get ready. Here they come. They've already set up idols in London. Who's your god, London? Very, very interesting. Somebody sent me this. I'm moving into areas of the church realm rather rapidly because I've got some things I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the divine spark today. Churches actually promoting the idea of a divine spark. They're actively telling everybody, oh, you've got God within you. Oh, he needs to come out. He needs to be released. Here is something they thought was interesting. This is the Great Lakes Church. Casual atmosphere, short services, loud music. Come as you are. Here's what they say on the back. Gallons, what should I expect? Gallons of free coffee to jumpstart your Sunday. Loud music, or so we've heard. A talk that shows you how the Bible applies to your life and why God cares about you. A bunch of messed up people trying to show their love for God through their actions. Snake handling, or maybe not. What are you doing there? And the person that sent it to me, I had his letter around here somewhere. Anyway, he thought it was interesting. The kid out there with the took the head off the Barbie doll, and they said, boy, that's kind of telling. That's the kind of church I don't want to go to. Here's what I thought was more interesting than that. It's their logo. That's interesting. That is like, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, because that's what that is. That's the Aquarian symbol on this church. And they have 2 campuses in Kenosha and Racine, in case you want to go. Anyway, here's one called, there's a new book out called The Throne Room. There's your 3 chromosomes there. Their worship, everything's a revolution now. You cannot sell a book without putting the word shift or revolution on it. You know, I want to go ahead and do this. He's still online. Hang on one second. Let me call downstairs here. Hey, Gary, pick up the phone. Let's see if we can hear Gary.
Yes.
You're all live online, by the way, Gary.
Okay.
Is that Shofar still on the line?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, is he listening?
Hello, Shofar?
No, is he listening to the live broadcast?
That I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
Okay, why don't you find out and have him tune in so he can kind of follow what's being said, and then ask him if he wants to be put on the broadcast.
Okay, shall do.
All right. What would I do without Gary? All right. Here's where I'm going with this. All right. A lady writes in today. Her name is Sarah, and she sent me several emails already today. Let's see here. She says, "Hi, Pastor Mike." Now, this is her information, and there's probably somebody out there listening that as soon as I make mention of this name, they're going to run tell on Pastor Mike. Okay? That's fine. If this information is false, if this is not true, then let me know. Just let me know. Okay? But anyway, Sarah says, "Hi, Pastor Mike." Hi, Sarah. And the only reason why I'm even bringing this up again is what I already know about this person. What I already know by things that this person has said, what they have on their website. This is what I already know. And so let's read it. "Hi, Pastor Mike. I'm very glad you brought up Rob Skiba the other day regarding Hebrew roots. I know that Rob Skiba belongs to the Hebrew roots movement. I know this. I've already seen that. I've seen his postings on Facebook. I know that he is." Then he says, or she says, "While I don't toss the term false teacher flippantly, I've had deep reservations about him for quite some time. When I was still on Facebook, I had confided in him when I first got out of the charismaniac movement." You're lucky you left, Sarah. God bless you. She writes in parentheses, "I naively thought that since he was so knowledgeable about prophecy that he would see what I saw. His response was shocking. He told me that he had studied under Bill Johnson." Bill Johnson is pastor of the anti-Bethel church, the other Bethel church in Redding, California. We have dealt with him and his doctrines and the things that go on in that church many times. And she goes on to say that he and his wife, meaning Skiba, had a sozo wedding. Hold on one second here. Yes? He's got me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna bring him up here on the phone. Hello, Shofar. I'm doing pretty good. Everybody can hear you, so you got to be careful. Okay. All right. We're dealing with somebody sent me an email.